So Retrobit, who are, they make a lot of the aftermarket consoles for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis. They're responsible for
like one of the big three. There's there's Hyperkin, there's Yobo, and then there's Retrobit.
What are some of the ones they've made, Ian? The Retrobit.
I mean, the same as all of them. They've made duos, they've made trios, and now they're doing this one, which has no cartridge slots and is more akin to like a flashback system.
Well, thanks for stealing the thunder, Ian. It's the Retrobit Generations. Let me get the name of it in. So it features 60 classic games, Ghosts and Goblins, Knights of the Round, Ring King, and more. So as you say, there's no slot. So what is this? This is going to be something you're going to see at Walmart for hopefully $30-$40. That you just plug in your TV.
I mean, it does look like it's going to have an interesting selection of games. Some that you would probably not likely see. My main concern with this is, I'm just going to come out and say it, I don't feel like Retrobit has ever made the most reliable product. They also say that it comes with 2 classic wireless 6-button controllers. I guarantee you these are going to be infrared wireless controllers, and infrared wireless controllers are things that have tanked plenty of good ideas, like the Hyperkin Retron 3, which we refuse to carry because the 2 infrared controllers that it comes with are garbage. So the Retrobit Generations, at the right price, seems like a cool way to pick up a bunch of legally licensed games on one console, but build quality and controller consistency is going to be a big part.
It's an emulation box, basically.
Yes.
So you have a user interface. You get 2 6-button controllers, which they look like almost like Genesis 6-button pads.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a graphic, but it looks like there's a controller port in the front for the 2. I'm not sure if maybe that's, like you said, infrared sort of sensor.
Okay, I mean, if they're wired, then great, that's better.
Think that would be a smart thing to do. HDMI and AV outputs, that's really cool. Because we're not all in the HDMI age still. And the games list is small. I'm going to butcher some of these. Ring King, 1942, 1943. Captain Commando, original Commando. X's, that's a shooter, right?
That's a Capcom shooter.
Forgotten Worlds, Ghosts and Goblins. One of my favorites, Gunsmoke. 4 stars, according to a certain NES guidebook. Higamaru. Which game is that?
It's a ninja game.
Knights.
Old Capcom ninja game, I believe.
Is that the one where you're overhead and it's overhead sort of you throw stuff?
Before I throw myself under the bus by getting it wrong, I'm just going to say I don't remember.
But here's some cool ones. Knights of the Round.
That's huge.
Excellent beat 'em up. Mercs. Excellent run and gun shooter that you usually don't see anywhere. I can't remember a port in any system off the top of my head.
Might be on one of the PS2 Capcom Classics
but never came out on its own, though.
Genesis.
It wasn't Genesis. Okay, it was. Oh, I probably own it. Sidearms, Sun, Varth Operation Thunderstorms, never heard of that, and more to be announced. That's a very promising list because you have some classics, you have some more esoteric ones, and plus you have some ones that would cost you an arm and a leg if you bought them for like Super Nintendo. Like if you went out and tried to buy Captain Commando on its own or bought Knights of the Round, you're getting to some serious cash at that point.
So the question with this, though, for me is, these are kind of deep cuts. The people who are going to be interested in these games are the same type of people who can Raspberry Pi an emulation box.
Sure.
Or who are already emulating.
I don't think these are super deep cuts. I think some are deep, but even casual people probably heard of Ghosts and Goblins, you'd think.
Sure, but, when you see the Atari flashback, people instantly think of things. When you see the Genesis with a cartridge slot and 80 games, and you see Sonic the Hedgehog right up front, your nostalgic juices immediately get flowing. I'm not so sure that that's the exact same sort of response that's going to happen when people see when the average consumer sees Knights of the Round and Mercs.
But this is a list only of 15 of the 60 games, and most of these are Capcom. Correct. There's not a lot. Ring King's Data East,
but published by Data East. I think what it looks like is actually, because Double Dragon's on there too. That was Technos. But I believe published by Data East in certain territories. So I'm interested in how that's going to handle. I think it might be Data East published games and Capcom published games is how they're going to handle it.
Well, it says the developers that brought you the Double Dragon series. So I don't know if they're going to be included.
Well, the developers would be Technos.
But
That could be interesting.
I'm just going off the press release. It says the developers that brought you the Double Dragon
Oh,
series,
I see. Okay, I got you.
Ghosts and Goblins. Maybe they mean the publishers that brought you that.
Okay.
I don't know. I think then you kind of have an idea, though. You have some arcade games here that were not hugely popular, but still good. Games like Mercs. So maybe you're not going to see like Street Fighter games on here. It wouldn't make any sense for them to be put on here.
The question is, are they going to be arcade ports or ports of the home versions? And I'm going to guess home version ports.
You think?
Yes.
You think with Data East, that's a lot of games like you might see Bad Dudes on here. You can see like a Karnoff show up.
True.
For that, you probably have to go with the arcade ports because would you want to play the NES version of Bad Dudes ever in your life again?
No, and the version of Karnov is not much better.
How many stars did you give Bad Dudes? Ian? He reviewed that one.
I don't know, probably 2.
That's probably fair. I would think these would be the arcade version. That'd probably be easier with the rights versus.
Okay, fair enough.
But and plus, it comes down to this. Is what it comes down to. This is a really good. This is a very promising list to start off with. So already I'm interested just in seeing what the rest are going to be. Price point. If they could keep the price of this thing somehow under $50, I think you'll sell a decent amount. 60 games, less than $1 game, I think you'll sell a lot.
As long as the list continues to be as strong as what they're showing, yes.
Because what do those Genesis ones go for that you find in like
$40
in like the Walgreens or whatever?
Yeah.
So if they stick with that, 60 games, $1, $50, and if the controllers aren't total horse shit, I'd be interested in at least checking out to see what the list is.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing for me. I'd be interested in checking it out as a novelty, something to drag to a convention that's cheap and disposable, as long as they're not frickin' infrared controllers, because God, those suck.